Seeking English, S.A.T. Workbook, page 329, problem 2. Brittany removed half of the total number of marbles from her bag and gave 1/4 of the remaining marbles to her friend. What fraction of the total number of marbles is left in the bag? This may remind you of the fertilizer problem, which we did recently. I don't know how recently you saw it. But it is similar in some ways and dissimilar in some ways. At the beginning, you have a number of marbles, which is not stated. At the end, though, you're not gonna have a number that tells you how many marbles there were to begin with. Finding out how many marbles there were is not possible in this. It's a multiple of something, but that's all you're going to find out. What you're solving for is this proportion, okay, at x over m, some proportion of marbles, okay, of the original marbles. That's what's left at the end of the process. There's the chronology again, which I keep telling people you need to follow the chronology. Also be careful here of the word remaining, which I mentioned before as making a very important difference in the fertilizer problem. And this marble problem, it also matters for reasons I'm going to explain. So there are two versions of this, and if the question were more ambiguous, the simple mathematics would be go for the less ambiguous version of the story because it'll be easier to get to the end. And that it kind of does make good mathematical sense that way. Like if you're going to get something wrong, you might as well not spend extra time on it. And I tell people your intuition, 50% of the time, 51% of the time is probably correct. In this case, though, it's my recommendation as somebody who's been teaching test preparation for a while, who's been taking tests for much longer than that, that if you're really not sure whether the more complex version or the less complex version of the story is the correct version, to give it those few extra seconds that it takes to do the more complex version. There's a very small thing that I have not proven, which is that if the story is ambiguous, the more complex version is probably the thing that they're asking for. Just because it's a bigger challenge. I know that almost sounds intuitive. Go ahead and be suspicious. It's contrary to what the obvious math is, which is the simpler one is going to be easier to solve. So it's the smaller loss. If you're getting it wrong, smaller loss of time. I don't want to over-explain that. You're going to have to make your own decision about it before the test. I've told you what I think. In the meantime, it's not the fertilizer problem again for this reason, and also for this other reason. At the beginning of the story, it's similar. There's a number of marbles, and half of them are removed. There's a number of marbles, and half of them are removed. In the simple version of the story, an additional 1/4 of those original marbles are removed. But that is not what this story says. This story says the remaining gave 1/4 of the remaining marbles. This amount becomes this amount, the remaining marbles. And 1/4 of the remaining marbles are what she gives away. So the simple version of the story, sadly in this case, does not work. Okay. Nope. Okay. It's the more complex version of this. From here, what am I going to do? I got these multiple. Okay. What you need is a common denominator. And it looks to me like 2, 4, and then 1. Common denominator is going to be 8 for the time being. So it becomes 8m over 8. That becomes 4m over 8. Okay, this becomes, everything gets doubled here on the top and the bottom. And 4 becomes an 8. This m becomes 2m, and that 1/2 m becomes m. From there, it begins to look a lot simpler. Okay, that's a subtraction. Okay, subtraction. Don't flip the subtraction. They are both subtractions. This is also a subtraction. You want to resolve that first. Okay, 2m minus m becomes m. That's m over 8. Okay, from there, 8m minus 4m is 4m minus additional 1m. Okay, it becomes 3m. Okay. Okay, so there, I don't know if you need that m. Not really. I'm going to take it out. That m goes away. So x equals 3/8. And that, I believe, is your second answer. As always, if you have reasons why somebody would get 1/4, or 1/2 or 7/8, please do tell me about those in the comments section, and that will help me better understand how people are getting this problem wrong. The obvious reason is not telling yourself the correct story in the first place, either getting the chronology wrong or not noticing the word remaining. But if you do those things right, this is not a complicated problem. Okay.